idea, viewers, about what exactly the crisis in Indigo is all about. Now, it has to do with the old rules which exist, and these old rules are back now versus the new rules. We'll change the points when I give, when I sort of indicate, because I want to explain this a little bit. According to the new rules, and remember these new rules have been held in abeyance, the regulator felt that as a result of fatigue among pilots, there was a need to restrict FDTL or flight duty time limitations, and therefore pilots would be given 48 hours of consecutive rest, so 2 days off essentially, as opposed to the existing system where there's 36 hours off which is given. Let's go to the next point, which tells you about what the new rules were proposing. There's been a definition of night duty hours. This is important because remember, lots of flight operations take place late at night sometimes. Those flight duties hours, nighttime hours, have been defined or were defined from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. This has been held in abeyance, and we are back to this system where night duty has been defined from 12 to 5 a.m. So this has implications as well, and because if night duty hours actually extended 1 hour more, then you'd need more pilots to actually be able to operate, ensure that flights were available, pilots were available to man these flights. Let's go to the next point. The maximum flight duty period for night operations is 13 hours. That had been brought down to 10 hours. Again, if you bring this down, then you need to have pilots from certain areas to come in to operate these flights, because the airline is not cutting down on their routes or the number of flights. But if pilots are meant to operate fewer hours, you need to find pilots from somewhere to operate those flights. Indigo doesn't have the pilots to operate those flights, hence this crisis, hence this cascading impact. Let's go to the next point, which actually talks about the maximum number of landings. The present system is 6. What was proposed was maximum night landings up to 2. So therefore, if a pilot was to do only 2 night landings in the name of safety, right, then where would the other night landings happen, or who would do them? You would need more pilots. Does Indigo have those pilots? No, they don't have those pilots. So we are back now to the old system. The old system says that there doesn't need to be a fatigue risk management system. That's not mandatory. Whereas the new one, which was a very progressive rule, said that there must be a fatigue risk management system. Reporting of fatigue was in fact mandatory. So we are back to an older system, which was deemed to be not good enough 2 years ago, which is when the government said, the regulator said, you need to fix things, let's make Indian skies safer. Unfortunately, we are back to this system because Indigo doesn't have enough pilots to ensure that the greater safety margins in the new system can be adhered to. Let's go to the next page, which actually tells you about the number of pilots that Indigo fell short of. Do we have that graphic? Okay, so let's bring that graphic up in a little while from now, because that's actually the main point in all of this. It all boils down to the number of pilots. Indigo is more than 1,000 pilots short, more than 1,000 pilots short of the situation. If you add these all up together, the statistics as per the Director General of Civil Aviation, this is the shortage of Indigo. We'll stay on this page for a moment. 935 pilots in command. They needed 935 more captains of aircraft to meet the new regulations. They were that short, and 205 first officers. Well more than 1,000 pilots, which they required to meet that. Now, they don't have those pilots. Pilots are a really rare commodity. They need to be trained up, they need to be accepted, and then given these jobs and operated. It's not easy. The airline, it appears, was growing faster than its ability to get pilots on board. Now, as a result of all of this, let's bring up a video of the crises which have been taking place in the Indian skies, in airports, I should mention. Just look at this. Passengers irate, flights impacted across the country, an airline which prided itself on being regular with its schedule, pushed to the limit, has broken. They're back to the old schedule. So in case you're asking, and this is a very basic question, when is it actually going to come back, the flight operations? The answer to that is that it should, come back to me for a moment, it should be regulated within a period of 24 hours to start with, and within 3 days or so, the entire system or the routine, the roster of Indigo should be back up. So